My friends, there are things in life that must be guarded, things that should never be shared with just anyone. Not out of secrecy, but out of wisdom. First, never share your deepest fears with those who do not walk in faith. Fear is a weapon of the enemy, and if given to the wrong hands, it will be used against you. Second, never share your weaknesses with those who seek their own gain. There are those who will use them to bring you down rather than lift you up. Third, never share every detail of your plans before they are fulfilled. Not everyone will rejoice in your journey. Some will try to hinder it. And lastly, never share your good deeds to seek praise. What is done in humility will be honored in ways far greater than human applause. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions a person can experience. It can paralyze the strongest among us and shake the foundation of even the most confident soul. Fear is not just an emotion, it is a force that influences decisions, shapes our actions, and can determine the course of our lives. When we share our fears with the wrong people, we open the door for those fears to be used against us. Not everyone who listens to your worries has your best interests at heart. Some will use that knowledge to manipulate, discourage, or even control you. Fear exposes vulnerability, and vulnerability in the wrong hands can be a dangerous thing. Some people may seem trustworthy, offering a listening ear and a comforting presence, but not all who listen do so out of genuine concern. There are those who take note of what makes you anxious and store it away, waiting for the right moment to use it to their advantage. They may not do so openly or immediately, but over time they may subtly use your fears to influence your choices, make you doubt yourself, or lead you down a path you never intended to take. When you reveal your deepest fears to the wrong individuals, you give them an unspoken power over you. They now hold a piece of your inner world, something that has the potential to sway your emotions and cloud your judgment. Some will use that knowledge to keep you from stepping out in faith, to hold you back from taking risks that could lead to growth and success. They might remind you of your fears when you're about to make an important decision, feeding your doubt instead of encouraging your courage. There are also those who will not intentionally harm you, yet they may still do damage simply because they do not understand your journey. They might minimize your fears, telling you that you're overreacting or that your concerns are unfounded. While they may believe they are helping, their words can leave you feeling unheard and invalidated. Others may take your fears and spread them to others, turning what was meant to be a private struggle into common knowledge. Once your fears are out in the open, they can be misinterpreted, exaggerated, and used in ways you never intended. Fear, when spoken aloud, gains weight. The more we dwell on it, the stronger it becomes. When we share it with those who do not nurture our faith and courage, we reinforce its grip on us. Some fears are best confronted in silence, brought before God rather than men. Seeking wisdom from the right people is important, but wisdom is not found in every listener. Not everyone is equipped to help you battle your fears. Some will magnify them, making them seem larger than they are. Others will unknowingly confirm your worst anxieties, planting seeds of doubt where there should be trust. There are moments when fear must be voiced, but it must be voiced wisely, speaking to a mentor, a trusted friend, or someone who has walked the path before you can bring clarity and encouragement. But speaking to those who thrive on negativity, who secretly enjoy seeing others struggle, or who lack the maturity to guide you, will only lead to deeper discouragement. Not every conversation is meant to be had, and not every fear is meant to be shared with just anyone. Guarding your fears does not mean denying them. It does not mean pretending they do not exist. It means choosing wisely where you place them. Some battles are meant to be fought in prayer, not in public. Some struggles are meant to be faced with those who uplift, not those who undermine. The more you guard your fears, the less power they will have over you. The less you give them to those who misuse them, the sure will become. Fear can be a tool in the wrong hands, but in the right hands it can be overcome. Weakness is something every person carries, whether seen or unseen. It is part of being human, a reminder that no one is without limits or struggles. Some weaknesses are physical, some emotional, and some spiritual. They can stem from past wounds, insecurities, failures, or even habits that are hard to break. While acknowledging weakness is important, sharing it with the wrong people can lead to harm instead of help. Not everyone who listens does so with a heart to encourage. Some take that knowledge and use it to gain control, to manipulate, or to bring discouragement rather than support. When a person reveals their weaknesses, they are exposing a sensitive part of themselves. They are laying bare something that can be used against them if placed in the wrong hands. There are people who, whether out of malice or selfish intent, will take that information and use it for their advantage. They may not attack directly, but they may begin to plant seeds of doubt, making a person feel less capable, less worthy, or less confident. Sometimes it comes in the form of subtle remarks, casual jokes, or reminders of past failures. These small, seemingly insignificant actions begin to weigh on the mind, reinforcing the very weakness that was meant to be overcome. There are those who enjoy power over others, and one of the easiest ways to gain that power is by learning their struggles. They may come across as friendly, as though they genuinely care, but their goal is to know what keeps a person down. Once they have that knowledge, they can use it to manipulate situations, to gain influence, or to ensure that the person never rises beyond a certain level. This can happen in workplaces, in friendships, and even in families. Someone who knows another's weakness can choose to either lift them up or hold them back. Some people do not intend harm, yet they still cause it. There are those who, instead of strengthening, will pity. Instead of encouraging, they will agree with the weakness, reinforcing it rather than helping to overcome it. When someone shares their struggles, they may be looking for support, but if they share it with someone who is also struggling in the same way and has not yet found strength, they may end up trapped in a cycle of mutual weakness. Instead of breaking free, they may find themselves sinking deeper into their struggles, surrounded by voices that do not challenge, but instead confirm their limitations. Weakness is not something to be ashamed of, but it is something to be guarded. It is important to recognize who is trustworthy before revealing the parts of oneself that need healing. There are those who will uplift, who will offer wisdom, and who will walk alongside with encouragement. These people are rare and they should be sought out with care, but there are also those who will take that weakness and make it a defining factor, keeping a person in a place of limitation rather than growth. The way a weakness is handled determines whether it remains a burden or becomes a stepping stone toward strength. When it is placed in the right hands, it can be turned into a testimony of growth, a lesson that leads to wisdom and perseverance. But when it is given to those who lack wisdom, who lack the ability to nurture and support, it can become a lifelong chain that hinders progress. Some people will remind others of their weaknesses, not to help, but to keep them from realizing their full potential. They will bring up past failures, remind them of their shortcomings, and subtly discourage them from pushing beyond their comfort zones. The world is filled with people who are quick to criticize and slow to encourage. This is why discernment is necessary when sharing personal struggles. Not every person who listens is meant to hear, and not every ear is meant to receive such knowledge. Some things must be brought before God rather than men. Some weaknesses must be worked through in silence rather than openly shared. Trust must be earned, and wisdom must be used when revealing the areas of life that are still in progress. What is given too freely can be misused, and what is shared without caution can be turned into a tool for harm rather than healing. Plans shape the future, guiding each step toward a goal, a dream, or a vision. They represent hopes, ambitions, and the direction a person chooses to take. Yet sharing plans too soon or with the wrong people can lead to obstacles that were never meant to exist. Some plans are fragile in their early stages, like seeds that need careful planting and protection before they grow strong enough to withstand storms. When they are exposed too early, they can be trampled on by doubt, discouragement, or even intentional sabotage. Not everyone who listens to plans is supportive. Some may appear interested, nodding along with a smile, yet inwardly they do not want to see those plans succeed. There are people who, rather than celebrating the progress of others, feel threatened by it. They see someone else's ambition as a reflection of their own lack of progress. Instead of cheering, they look for ways to discourage, to question, to make the dream seem unrealistic. They may say things like, "That sounds difficult," or "Are you sure that's the right choice?" They plant seeds of hesitation, causing doubt where there was once confidence. There are also those who take the ideas of others and make them their own. When plans are shared too freely, they can be taken, altered, and used by someone else who has the resources, the connections, or the ability to execute them faster. Many dreams have been stolen not because they were impossible, but because they were shared with the wrong person at the wrong time. Not everyone is honest, and not everyone respects originality. Some see opportunity and take it for themselves, leaving the one who first envisioned it behind. Sharing plans too soon can also attract unnecessary opinions. Everyone has an opinion, but not all opinions are valuable. Some people speak from fear, projecting their own insecurities onto others. If they have never taken risks, they will advise others to stay safe. If they have failed in their own attempts, they will warn against even trying. Their words, though often well-meaning, can create hesitation. Instead of moving forward with boldness, there is a constant second-guessing, a lingering fear that maybe they are right. Plans require action more than discussion. Some people talk about their dreams so much that they feel a sense of accomplishment just from speaking, yet they never take the necessary steps to bring them to life. Talking too much about a plan can create a false sense of progress where the energy that should be spent on execution is wasted on conversation. There is a time for sharing, but there is also a time for silence. Letting actions speak louder than words prevents unnecessary distractions and keeps the focus on what truly matters. There are moments when plans should be discussed, but they must be shared with wisdom. Trusted mentors, those who have experience and insight, can provide guidance that strengthens a plan rather than weakens it. People who genuinely support success will offer encouragement, constructive feedback, and even resources to help bring the vision to life. But these people are rare, and they must be chosen carefully. The wrong voices can distort the original vision, causing confusion, hesitation, and even abandonment of the goal altogether. Timing is just as important as the plan itself. Some plans need to be protected until they have taken root. A structure is strongest when its foundation is solid, and the same is true for any vision. When plans are still forming, they need privacy, space to grow without interference. Announcing them too early can invite pressure, unwanted competition, or the kind of scrutiny that makes execution more difficult. Some people thrive in silence, working behind the scenes until they are ready to reveal what they have built. By the time others hear about it, the foundation is unshakable. Plans are a reflection of purpose, and purpose should not be placed in careless hands. Some people will support, others will criticize, and some will try to take advantage. The path to success is already filled with challenges, and adding unnecessary obstacles by sharing plans too soon only makes the journey harder. Protecting a vision, keeping it close until the right time, allows it to develop in strength and clarity. What is nurtured in silence often grows with the greatest power, free from the noise and distractions that come from sharing too soon. Doing good should come from the heart, not from the desire for recognition. True kindness is not performed for applause, and genuine generosity does not seek validation. When good deeds are shared with the wrong intentions or to the wrong audience, the purity of those actions is diminished. Some things are meant to be done quietly without the need for approval or admiration. When a person seeks acknowledgement for every act of kindness, it shifts the focus away from the act itself and places it on the person performing it. There is a difference between inspiring others through good works and boasting about them. One uplifts, showing that goodness is possible and encouraging others to follow the same path. The other turns attention toward the self, seeking admiration rather than making a true difference. When a person constantly speaks of the good they have done, it can become more about self-promotion than actual service. True kindness does not require an audience to be meaningful. A deed done in secret carries just as much, if not more, value than one performed in front of many. Some people share their good deeds because they desire appreciation, but this can lead to unintended consequences. There will always be those who question motives, who believe that the kindness was not genuine but was done for the sake of attention. When a person makes it a habit to announce every act of generosity, it can create skepticism. Instead of being seen as a person of true compassion, they may be perceived as someone who does good only when others are watching. Over time, this can diminish the impact of their actions, making them seem less about kindness and more about self-interest. Seeking validation through good deeds can also lead to disappointment. When a person expects recognition and does not receive it, they may feel unappreciated or discouraged. This can create bitterness, turning what should have been an act of joy into a source of frustration. True service does not seek a reward. It does not look for acknowledgement or praise, but finds fulfillment in the very act of giving itself. When good deeds are done with the expectation of admiration, they lose their sincerity. Another risk of sharing good deeds openly is that it can create a sense of comparison. Some may hear of what has been done and feel inadequate, as if their own efforts are not enough. Others may feel pressured to match or outdo the kindness they see, turning generosity into a competition rather than a natural expression of care. The moment kindness becomes something to be measured, it loses its true essence. Giving should never be about proving something to others. It should be about making a real difference. There are also those who take advantage of a person's desire to be seen as kind. When someone is known for their generosity, some may begin to manipulate that kindness for their own gain. They may expect favors, demand more than what is reasonable, or use guilt to extract more than what should be given. When good deeds are widely advertised, they can attract the wrong attention, leading to situations where kindness is no longer given freely but is expected as an obligation. This can drain a person emotionally, financially, and mentally, turning their desire to help into a burden. Silence protects the purity of good deeds. There is a special power in helping without needing to be seen. When kindness is done in secret, it remains free from the influence of pride, competition, or expectation. It becomes an act that is truly selfless, given without strings attached. Some of the greatest acts of generosity in history were done without recognition, without a name attached, without the desire to be known. Those who do good in secret often leave the greatest impact because their actions are genuine, not motivated by the opinions of others. The need for acknowledgement is a natural human desire, but when it comes to kindness, it is best to let actions speak for themselves. The world does not need more people seeking applause for their goodness. It needs more people who do what is right simply because it is right. A quiet act of kindness can change a life just as powerfully as one that is witnessed by many. The difference is that one seeks recognition while the other seeks only to make a difference. True goodness shines without needing a spotlight. And the most meaningful acts of kindness are often the ones that go unseen. Personal struggles are part of every journey, shaping character, teaching lessons, and refining the soul. They come in different forms: emotional battles, financial hardships, family conflicts, spiritual doubts, or personal failures. While sharing struggles can sometimes bring comfort and support, not everyone who listens is capable of handling that information with care. Some people judge rather than understand, criticize rather than encourage, and gossip rather than protect. Choosing the right people to confide in is essential because the wrong audience can turn personal struggles into public burdens. Not everyone who listens does so with a heart to help. Some are simply curious, collecting details that they will later share with others. When struggles are revealed to the wrong person, they can become the subject of whispers, rumors, or exaggerated stories. What was meant to be a private matter can quickly turn into public knowledge, often distorted in ways that bring shame or embarrassment. Some people enjoy hearing about the struggles of others because it makes them feel superior or reassured in their own lives. Instead of offering support, they use the information to elevate themselves. Sharing personal struggles with the wrong people can also lead to unnecessary criticism. Some individuals do not offer solutions or encouragement. They only point out flaws and mistakes. They do not seek to uplift, but rather to judge, making the burden even heavier. Instead of finding understanding, a person may find themselves feeling worse than before, questioning their decisions, and losing confidence in their ability to overcome. People who lack empathy or wisdom often speak carelessly, not realizing that their words can deepen wounds rather than heal them. There are those who listen but do not truly understand. Some struggles require wisdom, experience, and maturity to comprehend. When shared with those who have not walked the same path or do not possess the ability to guide, they may offer advice that is unhelpful or even harmful. Misguided words can lead a person further into confusion rather than toward clarity. Some may minimize the struggle, saying it is not as serious as it seems. Others may dismiss it altogether, making the person feel unheard and invalidated. The wrong listener can make a difficult situation even more challenging by offering words that do not bring peace, strength, or direction. Some people take advantage of vulnerability. When a struggle is shared with someone who lacks integrity, they may use that information for their own benefit. In workplaces, revealing personal difficulties can lead to being seen as weak or unreliable. In friendships, it can create a power imbalance where one person feels indebted to the other. In relationships, it can be used as a tool for control, where one person constantly reminds the other of their struggles to keep them in a place of dependence. Some will act supportive at first, but later use that trust as leverage in times of conflict. Personal struggles are often best handled with wisdom and discernment. There is value in seeking guidance from those who are truly capable of helping, trusted mentors, friends, or those who have overcome similar battles. But confiding in just anyone can lead to more harm than healing. Some matters should be kept between oneself and God, worked through in prayer and reflection rather than exposed to the wrong audience. The heart is fragile, and not everyone deserves access to its deepest pains. The response to personal struggles depends largely on who hears them. The right listener will offer encouragement, solutions, and perspective that leads to strength. The wrong listener will add to the burden, leaving a person feeling worse than before. Some people take struggles and use them to label a person permanently, defining them by their hardships rather than their ability to overcome. This can make it harder to move forward, as the struggle becomes something others always associate with them rather than a temporary challenge they are overcoming. Knowing when and with whom to share struggles is as important as overcoming them. Some things are meant to be shared, but not with those who will judge, gossip, or misunderstand. Struggles should be handled with care, shared only with those who truly have the heart to help and the wisdom to guide. Choosing the right audience makes the difference between carrying a heavier burden and finding the strength to rise above it. Financial status is one of the most sensitive and personal aspects of life. It reveals much about a person, what they value, and the struggles or successes they have faced. Money, whether in abundance or scarcity, has the power to change relationships, influence how others perceive someone, and even affect personal security. Because of this, discussing financial matters openly can lead to candid consequences. Not everyone needs to know how much is earned, saved, or spent. Sharing too much about financial status can invite problems that would not exist otherwise. When people know too much about someone's financial situation, their behavior often changes. If they believe a person is wealthy, some will begin to expect favors, loans, or gifts. Generosity is good, but it should come from the heart, not from pressure or expectation. Some individuals do not ask because they are in need, but because they see an opportunity. They assume that someone with wealth has an obligation to help, regardless of personal circumstances. This can create situations where generosity is taken for granted and giving becomes an expectation rather than a choice. On the other hand, if someone is struggling financially, they may be judged unfairly. Some people attach personal worth to financial success, assuming that those who have little must have made poor decisions or lack ambition. They may offer unsolicited advice, look down on the person, or even distance themselves. Financial hardship is already difficult, and judgment from others only makes it harder. People often forget that financial situations can change, wealth can be lost, and struggles can be temporary. But once financial status is known, People tend to view a person through that lens rather than seeing them for who they truly are. Discussing finances openly can also attract those who seek to take advantage. There are individuals who manipulate others based on financial knowledge. In business, revealing financial success can lead to unfair pricing or unnecessary expenses. In personal relationships, it can result in one-sided expectations where one person is always expected to cover costs. Some will act friendly not because they care, but because they see an opportunity to benefit. Money has the ability to reveal true intentions, and when financial details are shared too freely, it can attract the wrong kind of attention. Another risk of sharing financial status is the potential for jealousy. Not everyone is happy to see others succeed. Some will feel resentment, comparing their situation and wondering why they are not as fortunate. This can lead to strained relationships, unspoken tension, and even hostility. People who once seemed supportive may become distant or critical. Instead of celebrating success, they may try to bring the person down, questioning their achievements or suggesting they do not deserve what they have. Jealousy can turn friends into rivals and create unnecessary divisions where there should be unity. Financial privacy is also important for security. When people know too much about someone's finances, it can make them a target. This is especially true in a world where financial scams, fraud, and manipulation are common. Strangers do not need to know details about income, savings, or investments. Even among acquaintances, being too open about money can invite unwanted risks. Some individuals with bad intentions look for opportunities to exploit, and financial openness can make a person vulnerable to deception. Protecting financial information is not just about privacy, it is about safety. Money should never define a person, yet society often makes judgments based on financial standing. Some will respect a person more if they appear wealthy, while others will dismiss them if they seem to have little. This is a flawed way of viewing people, because true worth is not determined by a bank account. But once financial details are shared, people begin to categorize and judge based on what they know. This can create unrealistic expectations, unnecessary pressure, and even lead to changes in how a person is treated. Being wise about financial discussions is essential. There is no need to prove success to others or explain financial struggles to those who will not help. The best financial choices are made privately without the influence of outside opinions or pressures. Keeping financial matters personal allows for freedom to give without expectation, to succeed without fear of jealousy, and to struggle without unnecessary judgment. What others do not know, they cannot misuse. Protecting financial privacy is not about secrecy, it is about wisdom. Past mistakes are a part of life, shaping experiences, teaching lessons, and often serving as a reminder of where one has been. Everyone has moments they regret, choices they wish they could undo, and actions they are not proud of. But while the past plays a role in growth and learning, not everyone needs to know every mistake that has been made. Some things are best left between oneself and God, worked through in private, rather than exposed to the wrong audience. Sharing past mistakes with the wrong people can lead to unnecessary judgment, misuse of trust, and a burden that does not need to be carried openly. Not everyone listens with the intention to understand. Some listen to judge, to criticize, or to use past mistakes as a way to gain control. There are people who, instead of seeing growth, only focus on what was done wrong. They hold on to the past, refusing to allow someone to move beyond their mistakes. When past failures are shared with those who lack understanding, they may use them as a reason to doubt, to bring shame, or to question a person's worth. Some people thrive on knowing the faults of others, using them to feel superior or to bring someone down when it suits them. There are those who use past mistakes as a weapon. When conflict arises, they bring up things that should have been left behind, using them as a means of control or manipulation. A mistake that was confessed in trust can become a tool for power in the hands of the wrong person. They may remind someone of their past failures to weaken their confidence, to gain an advantage, or to create guilt that should no longer be carried. What was meant to be a moment of honesty turns into a source of pain as the past is brought up repeatedly rather than being forgiven and forgotten. Sharing too much about past mistakes can also create a reputation that is difficult to escape. People tend to remember failure more than success. Even if someone has changed, grown, and moved forward, there will always be those who hold on to the past version of them. Some will continue to see them through the lens of their mistakes, defining them not by who they have become, but by who they used to be. The more openly past failures are shared, the more difficult it becomes to rewrite the narrative of one's life. There is also the risk of unnecessary shame. Some mistakes are already painful to remember, and speaking about them with the wrong people only adds to that burden. Instead of feeling free, a person may feel trapped by their past, constantly reminded of what they once did. Some individuals, rather than offering encouragement, will make the person feel worse, emphasizing the mistake rather than the lesson learned. They may say things like, "I never expected that from you," or "I can't believe you did that," adding to the weight rather than helping to lift it. Not every mistake needs to be shared for growth to happen. Some lessons are meant to be personal, guiding future decisions without requiring public acknowledgement. While it is good to learn from mistakes, wisdom comes in knowing who to trust with those lessons. The right people will listen with understanding, offer encouragement, and remind a person of how far they have come. The wrong people will gossip, judge, or use the information for their own advantage. Trust should be given carefully, and past mistakes should not be placed in careless hands. Forgiveness is a gift, and when mistakes are truly left behind, there is no need to keep bringing them up. The past should not define the future, and growth should not be overshadowed by previous failures. While it is important to acknowledge and learn from mistakes, sharing them openly does not always bring healing. Some burdens are meant to be laid down, not carried forward through constant discussion. Silence can be powerful, allowing a person to move forward without the weight of unnecessary judgment. The past has value, but it should not be handed over to those who do not know how to handle it with care.